It's not an accident that Atlanta is known as an international city, that Atlanta is known as a welcoming city.
So I came here because my family got political asylum.
In the Atlanta Immigration Court, asylum is granted about 3 to 5% of the time. And in other parts of the country, like San Francisco, you see rates like 40 to 45%, things like that.
They're horrific places. There is no room in America for this kind of mistreatment of detainees, particularly civil detainees. And it really is a shame that we have delegated this kind of horrific treatment to private profiteers to basically make money on the misery of people that we really should be treating at the very least with some humanity and respect.
So I'm from Colombia, actually, and essentially my father, he was targeted by an armed guerrilla group, which is the FARC, and at that point in time, he had been shot. So coming here wasn't something that was really planned by my parents. It was something that just kind of happened. As far as the current political climate, since I'm somebody that is or has citizenship and came through this legal route, I know that the difficulties that somebody who is undocumented might face, it's radically different from what I experience. But I will say that it affects me in sort of a psychological and emotional level, like to see kind of what gets highlighted in the media.
Arrests by federal immigration agents are way up. Local law enforcement agencies are eager to help, and judges rarely side with immigrants fighting deportation. This is Metro Atlanta. By almost any measure, it's one of the toughest places in America to be undocumented. In fact, arrests of immigrants with no criminal record more than tripled last year in the Atlanta region, the biggest jump of any place in the country.
As an agency, ICE identifies and arrests and removes approximately 100 to 200,000 criminal aliens every fiscal year. One thing that I would like to make clear as well is that not in all individuals that we come across that have no criminality whatsoever, that we take into custody, are not a threat to public safety. We do not racially profile. We're not going to violate the law to enforce the law.
Well, it's kind of a weird thing because, I mean, states themselves have no say in immigration law at all, right? It's all at the federal level. So anytime you hear something like a Georgia governor saying, like, I'm going to change immigration policy, like, that's just blowing hot air because they have no control over that whatsoever. What they do have control over is things at the local level, like how individual criminal laws are applied and how they have discretion to decide, like, what they're going to enforce and against whom. So they can kind of use that to get at people that they see as undesirable, which unfortunately is immigrants often.
We've always been in the forefront on enforcement, on counties wanting to participate in programs that are law enforcement vis-a-vis immigration enforcement programs, such as 287G in secure communities. The immigration enforcement policies here tend to be worse. The immigration court in Georgia, both the court here in Atlanta and the court in the Stewart Detention Center, have the lowest granting rates for a certain type of cases, such as asylum, in the entire nation. My name is Carolina Antonini. I'm an immigration attorney. I am also an adjunct professor at Georgia State University, where I teach the immigration law class. The immigration detention facilities are really horrific. I have been personally to them. They're a long drive. They smell bad. My clients are always unhappy. If they're sick, they're not seeing the doctor. If they do see the doctor, they're misdiagnosed. They're not getting the medication. And I will tell you that I've had to fight on numerous occasions for the ability simply for me to go in to see my client. I've had to fight with the guards to go in on something even as simple as them not wanting to allow me to go in because I wear an underwire brassiere. Little things such as in the booth that we talk to our clients, the telephone that we have to listen to, the cord is too short so that we cannot look at our clients and listen on the telephone at the same time. It seems that they are designed in part to ensure that people give up on their claim, because what will happen is that your spirit is broken in the detention center, and at some point you lose hope, and then you decide to discontinue your fight. Sometimes I carry a lot of my clients with me deeply, right? Because of the stories that they come with. I represented a woman who the government wanted to get rid of because they wanted the land that she had built her homestead in. And they, through agents, tried to burn her inside of her home. And the back of her body, if you saw her nude, you would not be able to see that she was a human.
I used to work for this program that was a bilingual program for early learning, and I was working with a lot of immigrants, and there were people who were undocumented who would come with their children to this program, and I saw how it was affecting them. I saw a lot of resilience strategies working there. Some people whose neighbors or friends had been deported would take on other people's kids to sort of harbor them from going through the defects or the process that would essentially put them in an institution. And that was really remarkable to see that people were also really resilient in spite of all of the tactics that were targeting them.
And right now it's kind of sensational, right? Everyone's talking about immigration to the point where I think some people are kind of tired of hearing about it. But I just think it's important to remember that all these giant policies and things that we're talking about, at the end of the day, these are people. They're people oftentimes who are fleeing, the kind of violence that we are lucky enough to not even be able to imagine.
Georgia benefits tremendously from immigrants and the immigrant community, both the documented and the undocumented community. Our farm work, our construction, chicken plants. Immigrants really give us a lifeblood, a shot in our arm, right? Because they bring to us not only a piece of their culture and language and so forth, but they also bring us what we call in Spanish ganas, which is a word that means a desire to make it and to survive and to do it. And so stories like hers really not only stick with me, but also just inspire me every day to keep fighting, even in a jurisdiction like this jurisdiction where it is so monumentally difficult to win a case.